Hello, welcome to a Fantasy Month review. I'm your host, Justin. This is my third take, so I'm just gonna rush it, okay? So yeah, thanks for the likes and comments, by the way. Keep them coming. And to show my appreciation for the likes and comments, we're going to do a poll for the next book review. But they're all going to be short books, because obviously it's going to be like a week, right, before we can decide the next book. So I want to give people the time to vote. So yeah, please keep the likes and comments going. And by the way, this is the second book in a series, so there's obviously going to be spoilers for the first book. And there's going to be some spoilers for this book, but I won't spoil the major stuff like who dies and anything. But like, yeah, I need to spoil some stuff because I have criticisms for the book. I have to spoil some stuff. Okay, so yeah, this is the second Thomas Covenant Chronicles book, The Illearth War, written by Stephen R. Donaldson. It's 518 pages long. Came out in 1978, a year after the first one. So the book starts off with our main character, our main character, Thomas Covenant. I forgot his name for a second. Oh my god. Who decides to accidentally piss off the local townspeople by going to a bar, and it causes them to decide to, we're gonna burn this guy's house down. And which, it's not technically, they didn't burn down his house, but it's more like, I think they burned down the barn. And then like, the thing is, I started reading this book a couple weeks ago because I took a break because I was I tried to rush my Disgaea review, so to get it ready for Halloween. So obviously I took a break from reading this book. But yeah, so yeah, what happens? They try to there was a fire, and he gets a call from Joan, and he falls and hits his head, and that's the time when they decide to summon him to the land, where it turns out it's been 40 years since he's been last summoned to the land. And there's a new High Lord called Elena, who wields the Staff of Law. And a lot of our characters are now old, but some of them are still, they haven't aged too much, because apparently we find out that the earth power, people who use the magic powers of the land, can slow down their aging, right? And at first I'm like, why did they do this? And it's because of a plot twist that happens later on in the book, which I'm not going to spoil. There is also a new character who we get his point of view, is Hele Troy, which I have no idea how to pronounce his name, who was someone from Earth who got summoned to the land in a failed summoning where they tried to bring back Thomas Covenant the first time around. Who's a man who was born without eyes, but because of the magical sight that everybody has in the land, he can see now, despite the fact that he has no eyes. Who's now the Warmark, who apparently knows of Thomas Covenant. They explain how Thomas Covenant, because it never made much sense to me, like how this guy who only put out one book can basically live off the rest of his life based off the money from his first book, which didn't make sense for me. They explained that, oh yeah, there was a movie got made, but they won't tell you what kind of book it was, what kind of genre the movie was, or whatever. So it's like, what the hell? So yeah, you think they would have mentioned, oh yeah, there was a movie? Like, what the hell? Whatever. So yeah, there are basically three things that are going on in the movie. In the book. The main thing is that Thomas Covenant does not want to get involved with the business of saving the land from the Lord Fowl, right? He thinks it's all a delusion, and he grows a beard to prove that, when he does wake up, if he doesn't have the beard, then he knows, oh yeah, none of this bullshit is happening. He still thinks it's a delusion, which kind of, there is a contradiction where, like, okay, when he comes to the land and he's given hurt loam, he's able to cure his leprosy, right? But when he comes back to the land, he doesn't have it anymore. So why is that? Is that proof that the land is not real? Well, something happens maybe at the end that kind of contradicts that. But I'm not going to spoil it. So yeah, the main three things that happen is like the first half of the book is Thomas Covenant, getting to know Elena, try to figure out, does he want to, help the people. And then like the two major plot lines are like some guy shows up who is a servant of the former High Lord Kevin, who tells him he can lead them to the 7th Ward. At the same time that this has happened, Lord Fowl's army is marching against him, so Heel Troy, the new war mark, the general, has to lead an army and the lords against them, right? So yeah, this was pretty cool. We actually got to see a war. Like, it's not like the first book where they go on a quest and there's mini battles. Here we get to see major battles and some strategic tactics and warfare and other stuff, which was pretty cool. Right. But the main problem of the book is that the main character is unlikable and he's useless and hardly does any fucking thing in the book. Like, I'm serious. At least in the first book, he did some battles. He got involved with the battles. He summoned, like, fire lions that decimated the enemy or some fucking shit. Here, he does basically nothing. Right? Except act like a fucking asshole the entire... Until he finds out that, spoiler alert, that the High Lord is his daughter. Which turns out has the fucking hots for him? What the fuck was that? Like, seriously, what the fuck is that? And she explained away, well, like, oh, I never thought of you as a father because I was raised by the guy you cucked. But it's like, what the fuck, man? That was, like, Jesus Christ. And there's also this thing where Lord Moralim and Hilda Troy also loves Elena. So there's like a love quad going on, not love triangle, quad, because there's 4 of them. So it's like, what the fuck? And there's also a plot. There's also a cool plot where, like, some people, like the giants. Nobody's heard from the giants, so a bunch of Bloodguard and lords went on a journey to travel and see what the hell happened to the giants, and you find out slowly throughout the book what happened to them. And that part of the book was great because it wasn't like, okay, because a lot of books, how they do that is like they tell you in the past tense. Here we have messengers that tell them, and they tell you as if like the writer writes it in a way that you're discovering as he's retelling the story. It's like you're living it out, right? He does the point of view thing. So it's like, okay, so it's not boring. Like, it's not boring because you're just like, you're learning that's a thing that happens in some books where, like, if you've read Starship Troopers, a lot of the action scenes in that book is like written as if like it's already happened, so it's kind of lame. So even though we know this already happened when he's retelling the story, it's like you're there because it's point of view. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, like the major problem with the book is that it climaxed a little too early. And then the last like 100 pages is really slow. Because it deals with the Thomas, Elena, Banner, and Morin, and Amok, a new character, going on a quest for the 7th Ward. And there is a final battle, but we don't see what happens in the final battle. We get cucked from that. So it's like, what the fuck, man? That was so dumb. Oh my Christ. But I mean, I understand why they did that because it's like to build suspense. But it's like holy shit, man, holy shit. I would have been nice, but yeah, I mostly enjoyed the book. But it's like what the fuck was with the incest? And he tells them like, oh, I loved Ellen, blah 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 at the end. He's like, you loved her, and she's your daughter. I guess they just assumed that like, why would you assume that? It was an incestuous thing when he said I loved her, and after he finds out, you know, that he told you he's her, sorry, you know what I mean, he's her father. So it's like, what the fuck, man. So I don't know why the fuck they brought up. It's like, that's the thing. The first book felt anime as fuck because of the shit that happens at the beginning of the book in the first book, which they tell you, they have a recap of what happened in the first book, and they straight up lie. They said like the mother went on the journey not knowing what Thomas did, and that's not true. She didn't know until halfway or whatever. But whatever. So I enjoyed the book, but it does get very slow I would say it's very slow in the beginning and near the end. But the war part was great, only for the guys' tactics to fail, and then they have to use magic bullshit to win at the end. So that was a little disappointing, but spoiler alert, but you know, did they win though? They didn't feel like a victory. So yeah, I enjoyed this book, but it's like, what the fuck. So yeah, 7 to 10. But the protagonist did help with finding the seventh ward, but it's like, other than that, he didn't really like. All he did was give hints and like, you know, advice. So it didn't really feel like he did fucking much, man. Oh my god. So yeah, we were supposed to do a book haul too. So we'll go through the book haul very quickly. So yeah, what's some books I picked up? I picked up The Lions of Al Razan by Guy Gabriel. Okay, this is a historical drama, not a fantasy book, I think. I finally picked up the third Sword of Truth book. Though the cover is not that much better than the crappy cover that they had, the new one, the new book that came out. But yeah, fuck it, I don't care. Next is that Australian Lord of the Rings ripoff I told you about, or is it Eye of the World? I don't know. Across the Face of the World. I might try to review this. I don't know. It's pretty thick. They also had the second book, which I picked up, but they didn't have the third book. It sounds cool. It very much. I was reading the description for the books, and it sounds a lot like Wheel of Time. So I should review more Wheel of Time books, but whatever. Next is Master of Dragons by Chris Watt. This is a Age of Sigmar book, I think, or Warhammer. I don't know. Yeah, one of the two. Next, I picked up the fourth Legend of Driss book, The Crystal Shard, which I haven't. Thing is, I reviewed comic adaptions of the first three books, and so I'm like, do I really want to reread the first three books when I read comic adaptions of them? So I don't know. So I picked this up instead. Yeah, I picked this up anyway, even though I haven't read the first book. Even though it's damaged, it is damaged as fucked, but it's, you know, the words aren't damaged. So yeah, whatever. Next, The Sleeping Dragon by Joel Rosenberg, which we might review this. This is a short book. We might review this for Fantasy Month. But I don't know if it's a classic. And I picked up a movie, In the Valley of Eli. So yeah, I picked this up at a thrift store. So yeah, I don't know. I liked Basic, which is like you know, yeah. So it kind of looked like it had that kind of vibe. I don't know. So yeah, that's it for this whole video and book review. My next Fantasy Month review is going to be Black Clover Volume 1. Do I like this book or do I hate this book? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Peace.